Hello, good morning everyone. Myself Sujit Pandey, Assistant Professor of Aeronautical Department in our Parul University. Now today our subject is helicopter engineering. In this subject we are going to discuss fifth chapter is nothing but basic performance of helicopters. Right? Okay. In this chapter these are the outlines: hovering and axial climb performance, next forward flight performance, and for performance analysis. In this chapter we are going to this all these things. Okay. Next thing is what? In hovering and axial climb performance, we have to discuss about hovering and axial flight climb of a helicopter performance, right? Okay. Next, the in hovering, recall in chapter 3, for hovering, weight is equal to thrust is equal to W is equal to T is equal to weight, and K is the induced power factor, and CD naught is the average profile drag coefficient, FM is the figure of merit. Now we can see here P is equal to P naught plus Pi is equal to K times of W to the power 3 by 2 upon 2 square root of 2 rho A. Here instead of T we are using W, weight, plus rho A omega r to the power Q into bracket sigma CD naught by 8 is equal to 1 upon Fm into W to the power 3 by 2 upon square root of 2 rho A. Cp is equal to, in the term of coefficient, is equal to Cp is equal to Cpi plus Cp naught. Cpi is the induced power coefficient and Cp naught is the profile power coefficient, is equal to K times Cw to the power 3 by 2 upon root 2 plus sigma CD naught by 8 is equal to 1 upon Fm into Cw to the power 3 by 2 upon root 2. Right? Now the basic effect of density altitude on the hovering performance. So on the right, power required varies with altitude. For 11,000 feet LB helicopter CH-60, 20% greater power needed at 9,000 feet. Now assume Fm or K are not substantially affected by rho. Now in a figure we can see the power required is in HP represent and on y axis, and x axis represent the aircraft gross takeoff weight in LB. This is the results of example helicopters only, right? Now continuous line is the condition for mean sea level, and dotted line 3,000 feet, 6,000 feet and 9,000 feet. These are the all the power required curves for helicopters. Understood? Now we can go for the next. Then hovering, the decreasing in excess power almost proportional to the extra weight, where excess power is nothing but power available minus power required. Right? Means at the ceiling is what? The height at which excess power is 0, means power available is equal to power required, then excess power is 0 is nothing but absolute ceiling. For service ceiling it will be have some values. It is means that the helicopters can hovering beyond the height, cannot hover beyond the height. In figure we can see the y-axis represents the excess power available in HP, and the x-axis represents the aircraft gross total weight in LB. Continuous line is the sea level, and dotted line is the 3,000, 6,000, 9,000 feet altitude. We can see the power available curve. Means height will be increased and power available will decrease. Right? Now we can go for the next slide. The climb, recall chapter 2, this is the velocity ratio of Vi by Vh is equal to minus of Vc by 2 Vh plus square root of Vc by 2 Vh whole square plus 1, approximately equal to 1 minus Vc by 2 Vh for low Vc, and Ph plus delta P by Ph is equal to Vc by 2 Vh is equal to square root of Vc by 2 Vh whole square plus 1, approximately equal to 1 plus Vc by 2 Vh for low Vc. Delta P is the excess power available above hovers. The climb velocity does not depend on excess rotor thrust but on an excess of power. For low to moderate rate of climb, delta P is approximately equal to theta Vc by 2 is the next is Vc is approximately equal to 2 delta P by W. This is the maximum climb rate. Right? I think we can understood this slide. Now we can go for the next. We have to move. Now it is a climb Here the figure on the right shows a decrease of maximum climb rates if HP is high. Y-axis represents the main rotor power required in HP and X-axis represents the vertical rate of climb in feet per minute. Now we can see here the power available at sea level and maximum rate of climb at sea level, and the second thing is power available at 9000 feet and maximum rate of climb at 9000 feet. We can see the continuous line is at sea level and dotted line is at 3000, 6000, 9000 feet altitude. The corresponding power required. You can see the power available is decreasing if altitude is increased, and maximum rate of climb is also decreasing with increasing the altitude. Gross total weight of the aircraft means helicopter is 16,000 lb. Power install is equal to 2800 HP at the rate of sea level. Right? Okay. Next is forward flight performance. Previous one is the axial and hovering flight performance, right? Now for the forward flight performance, in this slide now forward flight performance we are discussing about the powers, total power, and total power is the summation of Pi plus P naught plus Pp plus Pc. Here Pi is the induced power, P naught is the profile power, Pp is the parasite power, aircraft drag, or Pc is the climb power. Now consider a climbing forward flight. For a small flight path angle, Vc is equal to V infinity theta Fp. Theta Fp is nothing but flight path angle. In equilibrium, we can see in a figure, it is a forward flight performance. We can see in a figure, rotor lift is acting on perpendicular on the chord, perpendicular on the free stream velocity, and rotor thrust is a T, makes an angle phi is nothing but alpha minus theta, theta T Pp minus theta, alpha T Pp minus theta Fp. This is nothing but the propulsive force. We can say resultant force is nothing but torque. And relative wind direction, we can see here the relation, and the angle between the relative wind to the chord line is the rotor angle of attack is alpha T Tp is nothing but T path plane, and theta Fp is the angle between relative wind to the horizontal line, flight path angle, and Vc is the velocity component, vertical velocity component. Now in this figure, drag is dFp, means drag at flight path. Now with thrust have two components, one is the vertical components, one is the horizontal component. In vertical component have cos component, means T cos phi is nothing but T cos alpha T Pp minus theta Fp is equal to weight is approximately equal to thrust. And in horizontal component, sine component, T sine phi is nothing but T sine alpha T Pp minus theta Fp is equal to dFp into cos theta Fp. Fp is nothing but flight path, right? And Tpp is represent the T path planes. In forward flight performance, T sine alpha T Pp minus theta Fp is equal to theta Fp cos theta Fp, right? Assume a small angles, assuming the Fp is the independent of angle of climb, then T alpha T Pp minus theta Fp approximately equal to theta, because sine phi is nothing but phi only for a small angle, and cos theta becomes 1, then theta Fp cos theta Fp becomes 1, then dFp is equal to d only. Then what is the alpha T Pp is equal to theta of Fp plus d by W. Now the power to undertake a climb and also to propel the helicopter forward, T V infinity sine alpha T Pp is approximately equal to theta V infinity into alpha T Tp, because sine alpha is equal to alpha only, is equal to, now we have to put in the values of alpha T Tp is equal to T is equal to W and V infinity, and alpha T Tp is equal to theta of Fp plus d by W. Now after opening the bracket, then we will get W V infinity theta Fp plus dV infinity. Now theta V infinity into theta Fp is nothing but Vc, then W into Vc plus d into V infinity. Then first term is called climb power Pc and second term is called parasite power Pp. Understood? Now we can go for the next slide. Now induced power Pi from chapter 2, Pi is equal to k times t into Vi. If the forward velocity is sufficiently high, that is mu is greater than 1.1, then the induced velocity can be approximated by Laurent high speed formula. Vi is equal to T by 2 rho A V infinity is equal to W by 2 rho A V infinity. Therefore, the power equations can be written as P is equal to k times T square divided by 2 rho A V infinity plus P naught plus Pp plus W into Vc. Then in the term of coefficient we can say Cpi is equal to kct square divided by 2 square root of lambda square plus mu square is approximately equal to kct square by 2 mu for larger mu. This is nothing but induced power coefficient, right? Now next thing is, now we can see here the blade profile power. The blade profile power P naught in chapter 3 blade elements theory, the profile power coefficients with a uniform blade chord is Cp naught equal to Cq naught is equal to sigma Cd naught by 4 pi integration 0 to 2 pi integration 0 to 1 in bracket u by omega r to the power whole cube into dr into d psi. Now u square is equal to ut square plus ur square. U is nothing but resultant velocity at the elements, and Cd naught is equal to profile viscous drag coefficient. Now we can see the figure, top view of the blades. R naught is the distance between the shaft to the blades, and y is the distance between from the hinge shaft to the elements. We are considering dy element strip, and r is the radius of the blades completes including shaft, and omega is the rotation of the blade, and u is the resultant velocity, ut is the tangential velocity, and ur is the reference velocity, right? Now we can go for the next slide. If ur is approximately equal to 0, then u equal to ut is equal to omega r in bracket r plus mu sin psi, and Cp naught equal to sigma Cd naught by 4 pi integration 0 to 2 pi integration 0 to 1 r plus mu sin psi whole cube into dr into d psi. Then Cp naught equal to sigma Cd naught by 4 pi integration 0 to 2 pi integration 0 to 1 r cube plus 3 r square mu sin psi plus 3 r mu square sin square psi plus mu q sin q psi into dr into d psi. Then is equal to sigma Cd naught by 8 in bracket 1 plus 3 mu square only if ur is equal to 0. This is the equation for Cp naught, means profile power coefficient. Now if ur is not equal to 0, then u square is equal to ut square plus ur square. Then ur is equal to omega r mu cos psi. Cp naught is nothing but evaluated numerically. Then Cp naught is approximately equal to sigma Cd naught by 8 in bracket 1 plus k mu square. K is equal to 4 for hours, and k equal to 5 for mu equal to 0.5. Average is k belongs to 0.6 to 4.6 to 4.7, right? Right. Next, the reverse flow. At higher advance ratio, a considerably amount of reverse flow will exist on the retracting side of the rotor disc. Compute the locus of the regions. Ut is equal to 0 is equal to omega r in bracket r plus mu sin psi. R is equal to minus of mu sin psi. So the region is a circular region with the diameter mu, center at mu by 2, 270. Now we can see the figure. Upper figure is top view, and down figure is the, we can see here the mu equal to 0.3, psi is equal to 0 to 90, 180, 270 in circular. Then direction of the rotation is the anti-clockwise direction, is the blade, and left hand side is the retracting side of the disc, and right hand side is the advancing side of the disc, where the reverse flow region exists in the center of this disc at the point mu by 2. Mu is the diameter, then radius is mu by 2, and at 270 degree. This is the reverse flow regions, we can see. Now reverse flow, it is also changed drag sign in this region. Cp naught is equal to sigma Cd naught by 4 pi integration 0 to 2 pi integration 0 to 1 in bracket r plus mu sin psi whole cube into dr into d psi minus of sigma Cd naught by 2 pi integration 0 to 2 pi integration 0 to minus mu sin psi in bracket r plus mu sin psi whole cube into dr into d psi. If Cd is the same, Cp naught is equal to sigma Cd naught by 8 in bracket 1 plus 3 mu square plus 3 by 8 mu 4. Now you can see here sigma value is 0 to 90, 180 to 70 degree. Reverse flow region is the same as the previous one, direction of rotation. What is the difference? Here is showing the right hand side is showing the advanced side of the disc and left hand side the retracting side of the disc, and reverse flow regions exist at the center of the disc at the point mu by 2. Mu is the radius, then mu by 2 is the radius. Mu is the diameter, then mu by 2 is the radius, and comma 8 degrees to psi is equal to 270 degree. Right? Now, parasite power PP is a power loss as a result of viscous shear effect and flow separation pressure drag. The drag on the airframes PP is equal to in bracket 1 upon 2 rho V square S reference into CDF in bracket close V into V infinity, where S reference is the reference area and CDF is the drag coefficient due to fuselage. Then CPP in the term of coefficient profile power parasite power coefficient is equal to 1 upon 2 S reference area divided by disk area into mu q into CDF, means drag fuselage drag coefficient is equal to 1 upon 2 F by A into mu q, where A is the rotor disk area, F is the equivalent weighted area, and the CDF is equal to dF upon 1 upon 2 rho V infinity square into S reference, means reference area, or where is F is nothing but dF upon 1 upon 2 rho V infinity square. Now another approach is to represent drag relative to 100 units, is D is equal to D at 100 in bracket V square by 100 into sigma. Sigma is nothing but density ratio rho by rho naught. Right? Now the climb power PC represented by PC, this is nothing but rate of increase of potential energy. Rate of increase of potential energy. What is potential energy? Potential energy is nothing but mgh, and mg becomes W weight, then W into h, and here we are written not energy, we are written power, then power is equal to energy per unit time, then what energy per unit time, what is the energy? Energy is W into h, and 2 per unit time is W into h dot, is nothing but power. Then W is approximal to thrust, and h dot dh by dt is nothing but Vc, climb velocity, is equal to T is equal to, we can say W, and T W into Vc also we can write, because T and W is equal in this situation. Then CPC means climb power coefficient is equal to lambda C into CW. Right? Now we can understand. Now we can go for the next. Tail rotor power, typically 3 to 5% of the main rotor power. It is calculations in a similar way to the main rotor's power, with the thrust required being set equal to the value necessary to balance the main rotor torque retraction on the fuselage, so that required thrust is TTR, means thrust at tail rotor, is equal to Pi plus P naught plus Pp divided by omega into XTR, where XTR is the distance of the main rotor shaft to the tail rotor thrust. Right? Typically tail rotor is nothing but 3 to 5% of the main rotor. Okay, first we have to calculate main rotor, then we have to 3 to 5% we are considering for tail rotor, and tail rotor is in the term of thrust required. What is the thrust for tail rotor? Is nothing but summation of power Pi plus P naught plus Pp divided by omega into XTR. Omega is the rotation, XTR is the distance of main rotor shaft to tail rotor thrust. Now we have to multiply with velocity, then we will get tail rotor power also from here. Right? Now we can see in this slide the total power for one flight, Cp is equal to Cq is equal to kCt square divided by 2 square root of lambda square plus mu square plus sigma CD naught by 8 in bracket k1 plus k mu square. First term is called induced per propulsive power, second term is called profile power, third term is called 1 upon parasite power, is nothing but 1 upon 2 F by A into mu q, and fourth power is lambda C into CW is nothing but climb power, and fifth term is CPTR is nothing but tail rotor power, where F is the equivalent weighted area and A is the rotor disk area, mu is the tip speed ratio or advance ratio. Right? Now for high mu, lambda is less than mu, then Cp is equal to Cq is equal to kCt square divided by 2 mu plus sigma CD naught by 8 in bracket 1 plus k mu square plus 1 by 2 F by A mu q plus lambda C into CW plus CPTR. Now y axis represents the power required in HP, and x axis represents the true air speed in KT. Now continuous line is the total power, and the dotted line is the induced for propulsive power, profile power, parasite power, tail rotor power, and this black point is nothing but flight test. At different condition we are considering flight test. Now we can see here the power. This is the curve of power required, and this is the graph between the power required with velocity. Understood? This is nothing but total power. Now next thing is what we can say the factor affecting performance. What are the factor affecting on the performance? Is factor affecting performance, there are three major factors that affect performance. First is density, altitude, second is weight, and third is wind. In first, density, altitude, dA, the altitude in the standard atmosphere corresponding to a particular value of air density. High dA, high density altitude equal to low air density. dA is the pressure altitude, PA, correct for a non-standard temperature. In order for us to understand dA, density altitude, we have to understand PA, pressure altitude. Now factor affecting dA, atmospheric pressure, elevation, temperature, and moisture. Now this we can see the example 1, the standard day, SLP 29.92, height hg, altimeter setting is 29.92, indicated altitude 1000 feet, pressure altitude 1000 feet, and 28.92 inch high hg powers and 1000 feet. Now we can altimeter setting 29.92, indicating altitude is 0 degree and pressure altitude is 0 at the sea level. Sea level pressure is 29.72 h. Right? Now we can see the difference between this at sea level at a particular altitude 1000 feet. Now you can see sea level pressure is same, and the altimeter setting is 29.7. Now we are setting at the pressure at a particular altitude 1000 feet is same as the sea level. Right? Altimeter setting, we have set this particular sea level pressure at it will be set at a particular altitude or 1000 feet. Right? Now, next in example 2, non-standard air SLP 13.12, pressure altitude, the altitude in feet above the standard atom place 29.92, altimeter setting 30.12, indicate altitude 0, the sea level pressure is 13.12 hg. Now we can say 8000 feet and 1000 feet. What are the difference? Difference is altimeter setting 13.12, indicated altitude 1000 feet. What is the pressure altitude? 29.12 height high hg at 1000 feet. And 1 hg equal to 1000 feet. 29.92 minus 30.1 is minus of 0.20 feet. Minus of 0.2 is 1000 feet minus of 200 feet, means 1000 minus 200 is 800 feet. PA means pressure altitude. It makes allowance for sea level pressure be different than a standard. According to the standard and according to the sea level, there is some difference. We can see in example number 2. Right? Now we can go for the next. Now weight. What is the weight affecting weight? The lift is the force that opposes the weight. As weight is increased, the power required to produce lift, indeed to compensate for the added weight, must also increase. Now next term is wind. What is the effect of wind? The translational lift occurs whenever there is a airflow across the rotor disc, wind or forward movement. The point is headwinds are best for performance. In headwind, the term is takeoff, landing, and for hovering. And for crosswind, at low airspeed requires more torque from the engine. And at the time of tailwinds, bad for takeoff, landing, and hovering, takes away power from main rotor, beneficial when we are flying across country, faster ground speed. This is the feature about the winds, right? Tailwind, crosswind, and headwinds. Now we can go for the next. The problems are many. We can see here the transonic flow on the advancing blade noise, T vortices, blade T vortices interactions, sigma value, shock wave is created with the wing tips, thrust, dynamic stall, retracting blade, left side is retracting or right side is the advancing blade regions, aeroelastic response On steady aerodynamics, sigma equal to 0. Main rotor, tail rotor, fuselage, flow interactions, all these things. The problems are many in this shock wave, aeroelastic effect, unsteady aerodynamics, transonic flow, retracting blade, stalling, blade tip vortices, all these things, right? Now we can go. This is the last slide. Okay, thank you everyone. This is the complete the unit of fifth. Now we have moved for the next unit. I hope everyone understood my lectures and everyone enjoying this lecture also. Thank you. Okay, bye, goodbye, see you.